Hey, what's up? It's another episode of U Strappin, and today I am back on the Direnzo DRZ04 Mondial. This is, of course, the white dial version, and sorry, I'm trying to adjust my exposure here. And these aren't reviews. As you've watched the series, they were just quick, impromptu wristwatch check of the day with strap of choice. There wouldn't have been much of these on this watch. Mainly because this design was strictly a integrated bracelet design. Very nice, very comfortable, well designed, and it is, for such a design, it's always going to probably be best on a bracelet. But fairly recently, Direnzo has released rubber strap options for his Mondial series, and picked up a pair. They come in black and white currently. I'm not sure if he's going to do other colors later, but they're pretty safe and universal. They should work with the other color dials, which are blue, green, kind of a gray, silver tone, and the meteorite. Well, I don't know. I guess it should work. At least with the black, you can't go wrong. But since I have obviously black and white contrast, I picked up both the black and the white one. I put out a video a couple days ago showing basically the black and white straps, and I installed both of them on and give it my first impressions of it. And check that video out if you haven't. It should be the one, I think, just before this one. And but I believe both work great, and they definitely give a different feel. But I'm pretty sure the white one will give this one the best match and impact. I think obviously with the dial, but just something about the way that white strap is with this particular watch, I think it's a bit more striking. This one is, because it's black, it's more subtle, toned down in a way, and but it still looks great, sporty, provides great contrast against that dial, so the dial can still be the star. And not to say that the white strap wouldn't be make it less so, but you're competing or sharing, maybe not necessarily competing, sharing that white color space with the strap, versus this, obviously the white on the dial itself is basically the main thing, the highlight that's going to stand out, and everything else kind of darker or whatever. So you got a little sign crown here. This inner strap, I don't know if you can see it, let me brighten up, there you go, is signed, this keeper, but not the outer one. I guess you don't need to, but I'm not sure, unless I got it reversed and it's actually on the inside, but I'm pretty sure it's only this one, which is fine. I'm not sure if it was meant to be in this direction, because you can see it on the outer right side up, but on my inside, when I look at it, it's going to look upside down. So I guess I can always flip it around. I guess it depends on where that thing is going to sit, but my guess is that usually that keeper is closer to the buckle anyway, so maybe I'll just flip it so that it reads right side up when I'm looking at it. Not a big deal, but just a little observation I just made recently, and I'm giving this as a test run. Hang on a second, let me adjust my sleeve here. It's kind of okay. So I was saying, just giving these a test run, seeing how comfortable they are. And I tried this at work the other day, and it's very comfortable, as you can imagine. It's very pliable, as you've seen in my unboxing or first impressions video. It's quite soft. There's a fine, like, kind of grain, I wouldn't say sandstone, but if you look closely at it, you can kind of make out there is a very fine texture on it, which is cool. I think that makes it more interesting than it being just completely smooth. And I'm glad that Direnzo added or Sergio rather, I had decided to design it with like this kind of design coming down the center. I guess it kind of mimics the H-link of those center links on the integrated bracelet. They're not quite as small or fine or narrow, I guess you would say, but it's kind of gives that idea, and gives a little visual interest. Otherwise it would be a little bit quite too plain, and maybe not possibly justify the cost of getting this accessory for your watch. What do I want to add? I don't want this to be too long. I was also checking to see how well it may withstand dust. Rather, hopefully it's not a dust magnet. Some silicone or rubber straps can catch and hold a lot of lint and little debris or whatever particles that you might collect throughout the day or just brush up against. This one really doesn't. It actually holds up pretty well, and it's at least relatively easy to clean. Either brush it off with your fingers or I think a quick blow with your mouth and just clear it actually does the trick. So you don't need to get like a wet semi-wet like fingers or a towel to help wipe it clean, like some certain rubber or silicone straps you need to do to actually help you pull that dust off or that debris off. This one, no, doesn't. The only thing I would say is that it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I mentioned this when I was in my first impressions video. The rubber is basically smooth, but it does have a little bit of a grip or to it, and so while trying to run, when you're buckling it in and trying to run the strap through these keepers, especially if this one right here, the closest one to the buckle, if it's too close, it's a bit of too much friction going on, too much grip, that could be a little tricky just to push it through and get it in. So I would push this keeper out a bit, as I showed in the video. Gives you a little bit more angle to kind of run it through without having to kind of fold or bend it down to weave into it, and thus creating less of a surface tension, I guess, that will keep it from pushing through a little smoother. Yeah, that's the only trick to it. So it's not a quick strap, I would say, to put on, potentially, depending on how well or good you are at doing it. It's just because of that. It's just a little bit grippy, and the keepers are pretty well fitted. So if they were a little looser, it might actually make it a little easier. But I actually prefer it tighter like this, especially this end keeper, the very last one. All too often, I find that whoever's making a strap, this last keeper that will keep the very end of the watch strap down, that loose part, they make it just a little bit too big. And not the same as the one up here for some reason. They always tend to make this outer one larger, and therefore it ends up sliding forward or sliding completely off, and so, or otherwise not in the best ideal position to hold that end down. And then I find myself rather constantly adjusting or readjusting it to fit the best, perfect spot. So with that in mind, because of the little bit grippy nature of the surface of this strap, and the fact that these keepers are very well fitted, you're not going to have that problem. At least I'm not. And it holds it pretty well. I didn't really find myself messing with this at all yesterday throughout the day, and I wear it, long sleeves over it too, so that can kind of push and pull these type of things out sometimes. But nope, didn't have that issue. So anyways, let me adjust my sleeve again. Okay. Let me get a further out shot so you can see it. Let me get it back in focus. And yeah. And I did mention there's you should get like these spring bar tweezers to help you remove and install these. It's a tight fit. Actually, there's some more flexibility in this strap, so you can probably use regular spring bars, but the thing is, the stock bracelet on it is very well fitted and really goes in pretty much straight in and out. There's little wiggle room for you to try to push one spring bar in and then get the other side in. You risk really pushing metal against metal, spring bar against the lugs, and therefore, and maybe even the tool, and you could scratch it more. Granted, probably on the underside, which you won't see much, but nonetheless, you want to avoid scratches as possible. So again, check out my previous video to see what I'm talking about. But if you know what I'm talking about, the spring bar tweezers, they're great at clamping both ends of the spring bars and compressing them at the same time, and that way you can just get a clean drop into the space and then release, and it basically should fall in. If not, you know, just a slight adjustment and push and pull, whatever it takes to just get those spring bar ends to drop into the lug holes, the spring bar holes, whatever. And that's it. But yeah, so but I recommend you get one of those if you plan to get the strap and change the bracelet out from time to time. So anyways, yeah, that's on today. I'll probably get this on the white one next and show that off, and you can check that out in better detail and better lighting. The lighting that I had in my other video wasn't the best, so I'm doing this out in natural daylight, so get a good idea. So yeah, everything integrates quite nicely. I'm not complaining at all. It's a good fit, comfortable. It tapers about as dramatically as I believe the bracelet did. So it's got to be down to at least 16 from whatever this is with here. I'm sure it's at least 24 or more, because you know it's not actually in the lug holes, and it's about the width of the lug or the case, right? Just to give it that nice smooth flow from case to through the bracelet or the strap. All right, babbled enough, so I will talk to you later. Thanks.